Hey everybody, it's Scott here from Corporate Fitness Works at Hesperia Fitness Center, and you're tuned in today for this Mobility and More class. So we're going to jump back to it and get started right away. So I'm going to walk you through what we need for class, and then we're going to hit the ground running and see if we can get loosened up a little bit, and we'll spend a little bit of time just building some basic strength over that mobility right towards the end. But lots of mobility on our mat today, so hope you guys are ready to work. We're going to come right back here and get started. So what you'll need today for class is primarily just your body weight, of course, as usual, and a mat to work with. I've got a large loop band here, or any kind of a strap. If you have a yoga strap, that'll be great. Even a towel will probably work. Anything, if it has a loop option, that would be the best. Anything that you can find that might work will help us here. We'll use this for a few exercises for stretch assistance if we need it. And I've also got a yoga block here with me. And this, you may see me use it once or twice here. Really just want you to have it if you've got the option to help you with a little bit of stability and support through one or two exercises. So not a huge issue if you don't have one, but maybe you have something similar that you can get by with. But if you've got a block or something small about this size, that would be great. Of course, I've got my water bottle with me just in case we need to hydrate. And I do have a weight that we may use towards the end for our strengthening portion, but can be done totally with body weight if you need to, if you don't have any weight, but one small one would be great. And of course, I do have my bench here. We'll start seated, and we'll do one or two more seated throughout the program here for the programming for the class. So if you've got anything you can sit on, that'll be great. And we're going to start in the seated position. Other than that, we're going to get our timer ready, and we're going to start going right into it. And we're going to start by loosening up our head and neck and shoulders just a little bit here for a quick minute before we start working our way down the body a little bit. So we're going to start here with our neck, stretching our neck and one of our muscles in our back, our scapula. So we're going to be doing this by tucking our chin. So we want one hand to go right across our chin to tuck it, and our other hand is going to go right on the back, on the crown of our head here. And we're going to push in slightly with our bottom hand, and we're pulling up and forward on our head just slightly, so we'll feel a nice pull down the back of our spine and into the mid-back a little bit. So we want this elevated arm, and that's going to get a little bit of work in our back muscles and our shoulder blade there as well. So we're starting with a full minute, so we're going to do some nice big long pulls, kind of a pull squeeze. So we're going to try and hold that. Feel free to relax and go through a few active motions of that as well, but our main goal is to push the chin and pull the top of our head up. And we're going to feel a nice deep stretch down the middle. And we're going to go for about 45 seconds, and we might finish that with a few active reps there, so at the end. So we're going to go ahead and start here, 45 seconds on the clock. So we're seated up nice and tall. Upper arm is going to work hard to pull our head up, and we're tucking our chin during the process as well. So we should be feeling a good pull between our shoulder blades. And of course, if you need to, relax it and keep going through the motion. Slowly, we're going to at least try and hold for 10 seconds or so at a time. Keep going. We're about halfway. Reset it if you need to. We just want a soft pull here, so we don't want to overdo it. We're just getting our neck loose a little bit here. So about 10 or 15 seconds left. Reset once more if you need to. We should be feeling that nice pull up down our spine. We'll go for about 5 more seconds, and we're going to reset and do the same thing with our other arm elevated. Good, and relax. So go ahead and roll your neck out a little bit if you need to. Relax this arm, shake that out. We're going to go other arm elevated now at the top of our head, and we're pushing our chin with the other hand that we just had elevated. So there's our timer for a minute for our transition. So we're doing the same thing. So we're pulling upward with this hand, getting a little bit of elevation in the scapula on that tall, high side arm. Take some nice breaths in here as we do this. Don't forget to reset it if you need to. We should still be feeling that nice light pull on the back of our head and neck, and maybe down in between our shoulder blades a little bit. Another big breath. Exhale, reset if we need to. We're going to hold for about 20 more seconds and go through a few active reps here if we need to at the end. Tucking our chin and relaxing. Slight pull upward on the arm that's elevated. 5 seconds, one more last hold here. Big pull upward, 2, 1, and relax. Nicely done. So go ahead and roll your shoulders out here a little bit. We'll do a few nice big circles each direction. Feeling that relaxation in our neck and in between the shoulder blades a little bit before we keep on moving on down the line. So from right here, we're going to stay in our seated position. We're going to start opening up our chest a little bit here. And so we're going to lock our fingers behind our back. And we want you to pull your shoulders back and squeeze those shoulder blades backward and down into your pockets. And then we're going to drive our hands away from our back and really feel like we're opening up our chest and shoulders here. So we're putting 1 minute on the clock for this here. So go ahead and get in position. The clock is ticking. So we're seated here. We've got those fingers locked behind us, and we've drawn our shoulders and shoulder blades back. So we've got a nice squeeze, and we're driving our hands away from our spine in the back. So I'm going to turn so we can see this. I've got my nice tall chest and shoulders, and we're driving. This is active stretching, right? So we need to push our hands away. We've got a nice big deep stretch in our chest and shoulders right now. Reset it if you need to. Feel free to relax the shoulders. Get the shoulders tall again. Big squeeze in the shoulder blades, and we're driving our hands away from our back. Really feeling a nice stretch across the front of my shoulders and chest here. Don't forget to stand tall, or sit tall rather. We have that big tall chest. We've got about 15 seconds. Relax and reset one more time. Push those hands away. Feel the stretch across our chest. Big breath in and out for the last 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Nicely done. Go ahead and relax those fingers. Bring your arms back across the front of your body. And we're going to go ahead and go down to the mat. And we're going to continue that stretch in a little bit different way, so we get a little bit deeper stretch in our chest. And this will add a little stretch for our biceps as well here. So our cue for this one is we're going to be seated on our rear, and we're going to move our hips and our rear end in front away from us as we need to feel deeper on this stretch. So we're going to be here in the seated position. Feet are flat on the ground, hands are flat, and our fingers are pointing away from us. And now you can scoot, so we can start here and scoot your rear forward. Now we want to keep that tall chest as well. Bring those shoulder blades and squeeze them back. And then as we scoot forward, we should feel a really big pull on our chest. And we're feeling a nice stretch on the front of our biceps here as well. And we're going to sit here, and we're going to do the same thing. This is a nice static stretch, sinking into it. So 1 minute on the clock as well here. And again, we've got our palms there, flat, and our chest is tall. We're squeezing those shoulder blades as best we can, and then we scooted our hips forward as best we can. So now we've got a nice pull on our chest still, and we're feeling a big pull across the front of our arms and our biceps there. And we're just going to stay here. So really squeezing those shoulder blades back to keep the stretch on our chest. And we've got that nice pull on our biceps as well. We're halfway there. Reset it if you need to. You can scoot your butt back if it's getting a little bit too intense for the stretch. Otherwise, we're moving our hips away from our hands in that opposite direction. 20 seconds to go, and we're really feeling that deep stretch in the biceps and our chest here. Squeeze those shoulder blades back for our last 10 seconds. Really big pull in the chest. Finishing strong here for the last 5, 4, 3, 2, good. And we're going to go ahead and relax. So scoot those hips back, bring your arms back in front of you, shake those arms out right, really big pull. We felt a nice deep stretch along the front of your biceps, hopefully, and we finished stretching up our chest there quite a bit. So from here, we're going to take our side lying position, and we're going to clear ourselves some space here behind us. And we're going to get our block here, if you've got it, for a little bit of head support. And if you have a pillow or a throw pillow or anything small that will work, great. We're just going to rest our head on that because we're going to be in our side lying position for a minute here. So if you can just support your head up here without having anything to rest on, that's great. Just work on trying not to strain too much. So if you've got something you can rest on, find out which elevation is right for you. We're just going to rest our head right there. And then we tuck our knees here. So find what's comfortable for you. The more you tuck, the more difficult it'll be for our rotation. So find a sweet spot right in the middle, maybe right about there. And from here, we're doing our open books, where we open the pages of our book like so and reach all the way back. We're going to do it a little bit differently though. We're going to reach across, and we're really reaching forward first, and then we're going to pull back like we're drawing an arrow. And we're going to do 5 of those nice and slow on each side. So We're going to spend about 3 to 5 seconds at each position. We reached out, so we're here with hands together. Let's start our first rep. Relaxing our head if we need to. And we're going to focus on our breathing here especially, so we're going to breathe, exhale, and blow all that air out as we go forward. And then we're going to pull and inhale and really drive that elbow back and try and touch your elbow to the floor behind you. So we're drawing that arrow bow right there, and we really squeeze and drive that elbow back. So there's number one. We're going to reset. So we exhale and we reach, sliding those palms together, reaching as far as we can, and then we're going to pull that drawstring back. Keep your palm flat to your chest as best you can. Inhale. And drive that elbow back behind you with a big squeeze. Good, and relax. So there's number two. We're going to go for number three here. So bring our arm back down, palm back down on your arm, and we're going to exhale and slide that palm and reach as far as forward as we can. 3, 2, 1. Good. And we're drawing the bow. Big pull back. Inhale. And we're holding here for 5. Driving that elbow back. Really squeeze it. 2, 1. And relax. Good. So we exhale, blowing that air out, and we're reaching forward again. 2 more here before we switch sides. So really exhale, reach forward. Really drive that hand as far forward as you can go. 3, 2, and 1, and then we're going to pull back again. Big squeeze as we inhale, drive that elbow down toward the mat. Inhale, squeezing the shoulder blade. 2 and 1. One more time here before we switch sides. Go ahead and bring those palms back together. Exhale, still using our pillow or our support here if we need it. And we're reaching, sliding those palms. Hopefully you can get all the way forward. Exhale all that air out and blow. We're going to pull. Inhale now. We blew all that air out. We're pulling that bowstring back. Big inhale. We're driving that shoulder blade back and squeezing it and driving our elbow down to the mat as best we can, and relax. Good. Bring those palms back together. One big breath in and out here. And we're going to go ahead and switch sides. So I'm going to flip over. You can rotate over. I'm going to flip this way so I can stay facing the camera today. We're going to go ahead and get in our other position here, on our sideline position on our other side. So get that pillow or support back to where you need it. And we've got our knees at a comfortable bend here. So the farther up we come, the more rotation we'll need. So find a nice, comfortable middle ground. You can adjust as you see fit. And we've got our palms out flat, and we're going to go ahead and start here with the other side, 5 reps. So we drive that palm forward as far as we can go. Exhaling our air out. And we're drawing the bowstring back, big squeeze. Inhale. Shoulder blade is back, driving that elbow towards the floor behind us, and relax. There's number 1. We're going to do it again. Adjust your knees if you need to. If you're feeling like we're in a weird spot with the knees, get something comfortable for you. And we're going to keep doing it. So we got our palms together again, sliding forward. Reaching as far as we can go. Exhale. And pull on the bowstring. Big inhale and tucking. 2, 1, and relax. Good. Reaching forward. That's the second one. Here we go. Next one up. We found that sweet spot with our knees, and we're really going to focus on reaching now. Exhale. Reach that arm as far as we can go forward. Big stretch on our shoulder there. And we're pulling back. Don't forget to get that big shoulder blade squeeze, and then we're driving the elbow back. Take a big breath in here as well. And relax. Number 3. 2 more of those. Reaching forward. Big reach and hold. 4, 3, 2, and a big pull here. Inhale. Fill up your chest and lungs. Tuck that shoulder blade. Big squeeze and driving the elbow. And relax. One more time. One more big reach and pull here. So we're reaching forward. Reach, 2 and 1. We blew all that air out. Exhale and get a last stretch, and we're going to inhale, filling up our chest and lungs, squeezing that shoulder blade on the top side and driving our elbow down to the mat. 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Go ahead and sit up here. Relax those shoulders out if you need to. We're rolling those shoulders, and we're twisting our torso. We got a nice bit of twisting and stretching in our chest and torso right there. So go ahead and shake it out for a few seconds if you need to. We're going to keep on moving down the line. So we're going to go right there into our supine position, flat on our back here. And we're just going to do a double knee pull. So we're pulling hips up there, and we're going to squeeze. And we're just going to hold here for about 60 seconds. And that timer starts now, so we're squeezing here. Big squeeze, both knees at the same time. Get a full hug on it if you can. We're really squeezing. Feeling a little stretching in our hamstrings and our low back here. And we're just going to keep that squeeze going here. So as you get a little more flexible, we can increase the squeeze. And maybe we started with our fingers, we can get a full hug and really hug those knees and pull. We're squeezing here. We've got about 30 seconds left. Reset it if you need to. We should feel a nice deep stretch across the back of our legs. Our quads may be stretching a little bit as well if we're tightening the quads, if we're pulling, and we're really squeezing here. So last 15 seconds, big breath in and out. We really pulled those knees up to our chest, and we're holding on for the last few seconds here. Big squeezes in that position. Rolling up our low back. Felt like we got a little bit of relaxing in our low back as well. So we're going to stay right there flat on our back here. And we're going to go for a knee pull across our chest. So kind of a combination of a classic knee pull and tilting over to the side. So we want to pull up and across. Just like that. So we're pulling knee across our body to your opposite shoulder. And we're going to do 10 of those on each leg. So we're here flat. I got my right knee, and we're pulling not only up, but we're going to pull across a little bit. Get a little extra glute stretch when you do that. So we're pulling up and across, get a good hold, and then relax and extend that leg back down. And we're going to do 10 on each side. So we pull, and we're rotating just a little bit, pulling across to that opposite side and extending the leg back down. There's number 2. We're going to keep this going here for 10 reps on each side. 3. Big squeeze and a little twist. 4. Good. Halfway there. Squeeze and twist just a little bit, pulling across. Good. We should be feeling that glute. Getting a nice stretch there. Pull across. 3 more and we'll switch legs. Awesome job. Almost there before we switch. Should be feeling a nice deep pull on that leg, right? Good. Right about there on the back of our hips where we're getting a good pull, especially we pull up across here, but then as we go across our body a little bit, that's where we really feel that stretch there. Nicely done. So we're going to do the same 10 reps on the other leg here. So relax, comfortable position here. We're driving that knee up, get a big squeeze and pull, and then we're going across our body. A little bit of the twist there. Feeling that glute stretch. And relax to our normal position. That's number 1 of 10. Big pull across the body, opposite shoulder. Good. So we want to pull and ideally hold for 2 or 3 seconds and then relax. Number 3. Awesome job, guys. Keep it going. Relax if you need to. Don't be afraid to grab a drink. You need a little hydration. Otherwise, we're going to keep pulling and twisting on that knee just a little bit. Feeling that awesome stretch in our glute and a little bit of our hamstrings as well as we do that. Good. Just that quick 2 or 3 second hold just to deepen the stretch a little bit at the top. So we got our knee up, we pull across, twist just a little bit and relax. Halfway there, we got 5 more on this leg and we're going to keep on moving. Big pull and a little rotation. Good. Pulling across to that opposite shoulder. and relax. We got 3 more. We should be feeling that glute starting to loosen up now. Awesome job. 2 more to go. Full extension back out with that leg so we can really get the full pull on that. Awesome. 1 more to go here. Relax all the way down. And we're pulling up to the knee, up to our chest, and just slightly to the other side. Really great stretch on the glutes there. Nice job. That's our 10 exercises for our lower body. There are 10 pulls for the knee side of the knee and our glutes and our hamstrings, a little on the lower body. We're going to stay in our flat position here, flat on our back, in our supine position. You go up to our chest and shoulders just once more here quickly. Really, I'm sorry, for our back and shoulders. So we're going to go flat here. So you can have feet flat on the ground or legs fully extended or whatever you like. And we're going to do 10 slow active reps just like we did to that. Except we're going to go up overhead. Thumb is going to start up, and we're going to drive the thumb upward over our head until we can hopefully get that thumb flat on the ground or get our thumb to touch the ground. So we might get stuck right about here if we have tight lats, and that's what we want to try and work through. So we're just doing active stretch here, 10 reps again. So we start here on one arm, drive that up. So we're going to keep that shoulder blade pinched down in a tight position, and then we just drive. So that's where I stop right there for the first rep or so. So we hold there for 2 to 3 seconds and then come back down. So keep that shoulder blade engaged, and we're driving that thumb up over. Hopefully we'll extend and get more range of motion as we go so we can get that thumb all the way down to the mat. So I'm gaining a little bit of range of motion with every rep, hopefully. I did a little bit there. Here's number 3. We're still squeezing that shoulder blade down nice and tight, driving that thumb to hopefully touch. We're not quite there yet, but we're going to get there by the time we get to 10. There's number 3. So don't forget to keep that shoulder blade engaged. We got to squeeze it. Here's number 4. We're driving, almost getting that thumb there, and we're coming all the way back. So spend 2 or 3 seconds at the top backside there, right? And there we go. We just got that thumb to touch. It's pretty tight, but we're working on it. So hopefully you're seeing that range of motion increase. We got 5 more. So we're squeezing the shoulder blade down, really holding it, feeling a huge stretch, driving slowly, forcing that thumb up over, and see if we can touch. Let's get our last couple going here. Squeeze that shoulder blade, inhale and exhale. We're feeling it, getting there now. We got 3 more. Let's knock it out before we go to our other arm. Good. We're getting there. It's still tight, but we're able to make contact with our thumb now. 2 more. We're driving that shoulder blade squeezed tight, pushing that arm up overhead, and we're getting there. Last one here before we switch sides. Let's go ahead and drive it. Big squeeze in the shoulder blade, driving that thumb up overhead, and we touched. Awesome job. Take a big breath in and out. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we got to lock in that shoulder blade over here. Thumb starts down here, and we're driving. Hopefully we can get it there. We had to work on it the first time, right? So we're not going to get there. We're sticking right about here. It's starting to get tight, right? And that's okay. So we're going to work through that. Hopefully you see that improvement. Keep that shoulder blade active and drive it up. A little bit better. We're getting to 10. So you got plenty of time for improvement here. Keep the shoulder blade squeezed. Keep driving that thumb back as far as we can go. We get a little bit closer every time. There's number 3. Let's keep going. Got to get to 10. I'm almost there. Feeling a little stiff still. It's going to work its way there. I bet we touch on this one halfway through. I was really forcing it. We didn't quite make it. We're going to get there though. Here's our back 5. So rest if you need to. Re-engage that shoulder blade. Really squeeze it down. And drive that thumb. Oh, we made contact just barely there. We got 4 more to go. We're going to keep working on it. Squeezing the shoulder blade down. Drive that thumb up and over. Good. We got 3 more to go. Finishing it strong. Let's finish it out here. Squeeze the shoulder blade. Drive the thumb as far as we can go. Hopefully you can get it by now. 2 more to go. Let's go. Big squeeze in the shoulder blade. We've got a really big pull on our lats here. So this is the last one. Make it count, nice and slow. Squeeze your shoulder blade. We're really driving that thumb up and overhead, trying to get to the mat. And we made it. Good, and relax. Okay, sit up. If you need to, roll those shoulders out. Do what you gotta do. So we got a nice big pull, hopefully along the sides of our back there for those lats that we were working on stretching out as that arm goes up overhead. So hopefully you were able to increase the range of motion to get that thumb all the way back behind you touching the mat. And if not, we know how to do that now. We're just working through that tightness along the side there until it allows us to get our arms up all the way overhead there, hopefully. So we're gonna go ahead and go onto our stomach now in the prone position. And we're gonna do some kind of a Cobra position or downward dog style position here, some press ups. So we're gonna start all the way flat and we're gonna blow our air out and extend up. So hopefully we can get all the way up. If you can't, you just find where you can go. And we're gonna do 10 reps of that and we're gonna hold each one for 5 seconds or so. So we're starting here and we're gonna squeeze our glutes and our toes are pointed behind us back there and we're just lifting up. And we're gonna hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. So we gotta do 10 of those. So hopefully as this time goes on, we can get up into that full extension. If it's not comfortable, we just come up as far as we can go and relax. So we're gonna go ahead and do number 2. Really forcing it, squeezing those glutes, 2 and 1, and back down, good. Here we go, number 3, pushing up. Really great stretch on our abs there. Here we go, keep it going, down the line, number 4. 2 and 1, and number 5 here. So we're coming up on halfway. Hopefully we're feeling like we can get extended a little bit more. Our back's arching a little better and our abs are stretching out. So let's get up, number 5. I'm able to fully lock my elbows out now, so that's good. We're gaining a little bit of range of motion. So go ahead and relax. If we need to relax your arms for just a second, we got our back half. So reach them out in front of you, stretch out just a little bit. We got another 5 of those Cobra press ups here. So squeeze those glutes, tuck in our toes, and we got to drive up and hold for 5. Let's go. 2, 1, and relax. Good. Slowly lower yourself back down. Here's number 2 of our second set of 5. 3, 2, 1. We're getting a really great stretch across our abs here. Hopefully you guys can feel that as well. Coming up as far as we can go. Here's number 3. Let's go. Got to get up. And hold. 2, 1, and relax. We got 2 more of these to really feel that stretch on our abs. I hope you guys feel it. I know I can. Here we go. We got to press up. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Last one. Here we go. We're going to change it up for just a second here. 1 more rep. Here we go. Pressing up as high as we can go. Get all the way up there. Lock those elbows out if you have it. 3, 2, 1, and all the way back down. Nicely done. Okay, so that worked our arms a little bit, right? We started to feel like we were almost doing some push-ups. Great stretch here in our core, and we were also getting a little bit of flexibility and range of motion in our T-spine and our mid-back right there. So awesome job, guys. We're going to keep it going. We're going to maybe want to grab our strap here now. So if you've got a strap or a loop, you may want to try it without it here. So we're going to do a quad stretch. We're going to be laying down flat, and we need to be able to reach our opposite foot with your hand. So I got this hand up, and I'm going to reach back and grab that foot with my opposite arm and hold on to that right there like that. So if we need to modify this, we can always do this from a kneeling position like so, and just pull on that foot. Or if we have our strap, here's where that'll come in handy, because all we got to do is just loop that right around our toe like that, and then as we come forward here, we're going to grab that strap with our other side, make sure it stays down around the toe, and we're pulling that foot up with our opposite side. So those are your options. Of course, we can be kneeling or standing to do this as well. So whatever suits you best, we're going to go ahead and do that. So hopefully grab that strap if you need it. Hopefully you can just reach, but if you can't, that's no problem. Take the kneeling or standing position. We're just going to hold a static quad stretch there. And we've got a minute on each leg. So we're getting into that position. We're reaching. Remember, it's got to be the opposite side. So my left foot is up and my right arm is back to reach that. And we're going to hold on. And our clock is ticking. And we're just going to lay here and just relax and try and get that nice pull across. So we should feeling a nice pull across the front of the quads there on that foot that's up. And we're just going to relax here. So if we're pulling on the strap, that's okay. That means we don't have a ton of range of motion in the quads, but we can increase that. So hopefully you're able to work your way up that strap or whatever you're pulling on. And we feel that increased pull on the quads. So take a big breath in and out. We're just over halfway. We should still be feeling a really good pull on the quad muscle there. And we're holding on. 20 seconds to go. We're going to do the same thing. All we got to do is flip to our other foot. So hopefully you're feeling a nice pull coming across the body a little bit there. Less than 10 seconds. Really deep pull in the quad there. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Nicely done. Awesome job. We're going to stay right in that position. We might have got stretched on our ankle a little bit there as well, right? So we're going to stay in this position. I just stretched my left leg and I reached back with my right hand. So now I got to do the opposite side, my right leg into my left hand. So we're going to put a minute on the clock for this one as well. So just try and get in as relaxed as you can on the mat. Pull all across. And don't forget your strap if you've got it. And if we're kneeling or standing, that's okay as well. Just trying to do our best to pull on that foot. And if we can't quite get in either one of those positions, you can try and just kick your foot up on the arm of your couch or a chair arm that you've got and just try and do it that way. That way we don't have to reach back and crank back to hold it. So 1 minute on the clock for our other stretch. Modify it however you need to. And we're pulling 2, 1, and go. So we're pulling. Right leg now is being pulled across by my left hand. And we're getting comfortable here. Holding on to this pull. Big stretch across the front of my thigh and the top of my knee here, and we're just holding on. So release if you need to relax. We're going to try and maintain the stretch for the whole 60 seconds here. Make adjustments if you need to. We're about halfway, so if we need to adjust or reset, take a big breath. Now's the time you can do that. If we're having some low back problems with this, we may modify to the standing or kneeling position. We got 15 seconds left roughly. Keep holding on. Trying to get the rest of that stretch here for the last 12, 11, and 10 seconds. We're stretching across the front of our ankle as well here. We got 5 seconds. Final pull here. Hold on tight. 2, 1, and relax. Go ahead and relax that leg down. Nicely done. We're going to just come on up. Go ahead and take a minute now. We're almost done with our mobility portion. We will do a little bit of our basic strengthening towards the end. So before we finish the last little bit of our stretching here, let's take a drink. Hopefully you're feeling literally stretched out. I'm feeling a great stretch in my abs from that Cobra press we just did there. We're just going to wet our whistle here very quickly and keep on going down the line. We've got just a few more stretching mobility style exercises, and then we will do just a quick few rounds of some strengthening stuff, and I've got my weight for that, so we'll bust out the weights for one of those exercises through the block there. So we're going to go ahead and stay right here in our kneeling or our half kneeling position on the mat as we continue. So from here, you can grab your block again, or anything that you've got, like even your water bottle is great. We want to have a little bit of support if you want it. So we're going to stretch hip flexors. If you don't need it at all, you don't need it. That's totally fine. Just something to give yourself a little bit more balance and stability here. So our cue for this one is that we don't want to arch, right? We're going to stretch our hip flexor, but we want to try and avoid, and this is what will come in handy with this here. We want to avoid really arching to crank it. So rather than cranking our back, we're going to drive that knee way back behind us. So we're going to get into our kneeling position here. And so then my knee is going way back, and as you can see, I still have a straight back. I'm not really arching like this here to get into that stretch. So you can do so You can avoid doing so as we lean forward. We still have a tall, flat back. My chest is pretty tall, and I'm not cranking really hard, but I have a nice stretch across the front of there. So just get your block or something to support yourself with, so that allows you to really sink into the stretch without feeling like you have to arch too much. So we're going to do 1 minute, just like before, on each one of these legs. So get your block, hopefully you have it, and of course, we can just be in this position and lean. Just try to avoid arching, and if you don't need support, you can always rest your arms or on your thigh there, but this will help us just get into that little bit deeper lean forward without arching our back and still have that nice stretch across the front here. So we're going to go ahead and put our minute on the clock. We're already in position, which means we've got our block ready, and we're going to have our back arched. We're nice and straight here, and we can be active here by squeezing this glute as best we can, and that's going to make this stretch on our hip flexor even deeper. So work through some glute squeezes there. You don't have to squeeze the whole time, but think about squeezing for 3 to 5 seconds on that back leg glute. And we should be feeling a deep stretch anyway on the hip flexor, but as we squeeze that glute, it's going to help. We're halfway through already, so feeling that nice stretch across the hip flexor. Probably stretching a little bit of our hamstring on our front leg as well here, which is great. So keep the glute squeeze on the back. We've got about 15 seconds left, feeling a really deep stretch on the front of our hip here. Here's 10 seconds. Let's get one more big, long glute squeeze. So squeeze that glute and hold it for the last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Nicely done. So slowly come off that hip flexor. We're going to do the same thing and just switch sides. So here's our timer yelling at us. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. So I'm just going to turn this way for viewing purposes. So we've got that nice support here if we need it. If you don't need it, that's great. It's just going to give us a little bit of balance, right? So we've got that knee way back behind us there. Support here on the front if I need it. I've got my hand here on the block so that I can avoid over cranking the low back and still lean forward comfortably and get a good stretch. So 1 minute on this side as well. Starts in 2, 1, and go. So we're, again, squeezing this back leg glute. Not the whole time if you don't want to, just get some 2 or 3 second squeezes in, and that's going to drive our hips into extension and feel like we're getting a little bit more stretch on the hip flexor there. So lean forward as best you can with that trailing knee being way behind you. Glute is squeezed. Big stretch on the hip flexor. So really focus on those active squeezes of the glute, and then you'll feel the difference in the stretch. And just keep on fighting through that and try to keep our back in that safe neutral position so we're not doing the arch way back up there. We got 15 seconds left. We still got a nice stretch on the hip flexor. We're coming up on our 10 seconds, so get one more breath in you. Big squeeze of the glutes for this final 10. So we're really squeezing. We've got a deep stretch on the hip flexor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and relax. Lean off of that. So you guys should have felt a really nice deep stretch across the front of the hips there in that position. So the block is the way we can do that without overarching the lumbar spine. Give yourself a little support to lean on so we're not sinking into it too much, but we can still lean confidently and get a good stretch in there. And we got to be squeezing that glute back here. That's what will help us get the tight stretch on the hip flexors. Awesome job, guys, with that one. That's a tough position to maintain for a while, so we really do count on that block. So hopefully you were able to have that block or do some modifying with a household object of some kind. So we just got a couple more left here, and then we'll run through a few rounds of our strengthening. We'll be all set to go. So I hope you guys are feeling nice and loose. We're going to go ahead and get back to our bench. We can sit on your bench or flat on the ground, and I've got my strap for this one. We're going to do a seated hamstring stretch here. Same thing for 60 seconds. So we got this loop here for assistance coming forward on that stretch. We can also be seated on the bench, and then we'll reach forward to that leg, and that will take a little bit of tension off the hamstring. So 1 minute on each leg here. And we're just going to lean into it and stretch as best we can. So we've got this strap, if we've got it right across the bridge of our foot, so that we can feel like we're pulling our calf muscle a little bit as well. We're pulling that. So we're really squeezing our quad and driving our knee down onto the ground. So that leg extension. If we activate our quad, it's going to stretch the hamstring there. So we're going to keep doing that, driving your knee down into the ground. Feeling that stretch on the tight hamstrings back there. And we probably have this stretch on the toes, on the calf like me if you do. Hopefully you can just reach your feet. I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. So we do the strap to help us get there. And we're squeezing. We got about 20 seconds left, so we're really activating that quad to deepen the stretch on the back of the leg there. 10 seconds to go. We're going to get one more big long press. So we're squeezing the quad, stretching on the hamstring there. 5, 4, 3, 2, good, and relax. Switching to our other leg. Same thing on the other side. So we're looping this loop around if you need to. Hopefully you can reach. If you can't, like me, that's okay. We take this modification. And from here, we squeeze our quad and drive our knee, the back of our knee, straight into the ground and help relax that hamstring for more stretching, right? So our other leg should be feeling nice and good. Our clock is ticking. We got our minute on the clock, so we drive that knee down onto the ground with the big squeeze in the quad, trying to lock that knee out, and we feel that stretch on the back of our leg. Every time, get a little bit stronger. So we relax in between each one, right? And drive the knee. This leg really isn't liking this one for me. That's okay, we do our best to drive that knee down, squeezing the quad to keep the tension on the hamstrings. And we're gonna keep on fighting through. We got 25 seconds to go, forcing that knee down, really feeling the stretch, and then we relax for just a few seconds. We're gonna get one more squeeze, and then we'll do our last 10 seconds here, so go ahead and relax. And our final 10 seconds, we're gonna squeeze that, really pulling on the strap as best we can. 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Okay, nicely done. Timer done for that one, so we got a little bit of stretch in the hamstrings. We are gonna go to our half kneeling position once again. And from here, we're gonna do this position so we can have our knee tracking outward just a little bit. And from here, we're gonna keep stretching on the hip flexors and hamstrings a bit. And we're just gonna go palms. So you got palms or knuckles, and we're just hinging forward as best we can. And we're gonna get those flat, so we can go knuckles flat or palms are flat. And we're gonna do 5 of those, nice and slow. So figure out what's comfortable for you for the hip here. And we're hinging forward, feeling a stretch on the inside of the hip there, right? And we hinge forward and we feel that. And hopefully we can lay your palms flat. If not, we can go fingertips or knuckles or however you can get there. And we come back up to the top. Reaching all the way down there, get those palms flat. So we should feel in that. If we feel a pinch there, we can try and open up our leg a little more and work through that pinching. We got 2 more. Get those palms all the way flat. It's a really nice stretch on the hip there. And then we got 1 more. So we're gonna go ahead and hinge it down. Blow all that air out. 3, 2, and 1. We made it. So we're gonna go ahead and switch to the other side. We got to find that sweet spot for what feels good for our hip there, right? And then we're going palms down basically, hinging forward. Try to get those palms flat. A little bit easier for me on this side than on the left side. This is my left. A little bit more of a pinch in the hip there that I need to work through. We can open up that foot as much as you need to, but it's a little bit more accessible for me in this position to get all the way down to those palms. So again, we're doing palms or knuckles, whatever's comfortable for you. We got 3 more. Slowly leaning forward. We got a big pull on the hamstring, a little bit of the inside of the groin as well. Palms are flat. We hold there for a second and come back up. 2 more, nice and slow forward. Make sure that knee's not caving in. Feeling the stretch on the groin. Palms are flat or knuckles are flat, and we raise up. We got 1 more to go. We're going to finish up with 1 more exercise, and then we'll go to a quick circuit to finish up today. Hinging forward. Our last one, we got those palms flat, and we're holding here. 3, 2, and 1. All the way back up. Nicely done. We're finishing out, warming up these hips, or mobilizing these hips rather, before we go to our quick circuit. So our last one is in our frog pose. And so we're here, knees are wide now, and we're up on our fingertips, or palms are fine as well. And we're gonna go, arms are gonna be out in front of us a little bit farther, and we're gonna go from leaning forward to sinking back on those hips. And we're gonna do 5 in each position, and we're gonna hold for about 5 seconds. So we're gonna start by sinking back for 5. So we sink here, sink back as far as we can comfortably. Big stretch on the inside of the groin. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So there's number 1. And we're gonna go forward. And now we feel a different type of stretch right there, right? So we go 4, 3, 2, and 1. There's number 1 of each. So we're gonna go through 2. So we sink back nice and slow, and we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back forward for our second one here. 2 of 5. Coming forward till we're feeling a stretch across the hips. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done here. Awesome job. So we're sinking back. Hopefully we get a little bit more sink back a little bit farther every time, right? So we're paying attention to that. Number 3 here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're leaning forward into it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We got 2 more in each position here. So we're sinking back, blowing that air out if we need to. Stretching on the hips. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nicely done. Leaning forward into it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last time, sinking back onto those hips. Really blow that air out, sink back as deep as we can go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last time forward, leaning into it. Try not to arch the back, right? We're just leaning for the stretch on the hips. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job. Work through that frog pose a little bit. So now we should be feeling nice and really loose in the hips there. Awesome job. We're gonna come back up on here to our feet. We got a combination between our feet and down on the mat here for the last little bit on our feet or on the ground. So you can keep your mat handy if you need it. And we're gonna come up onto our feet for the first one here. We're gonna put about 45 seconds on the clock, and we'll go through a few rounds of this to get a little bit of strengthening at the end here. So we're gonna do our Kang Squat. So this is for hamstrings and glutes. So we wanna start with our feet a little bit wider than a normal squat stance, or a little bit wider than a normal deadlift style stance, right? So we're in between wide, right outside shoulder width. So I'm not too wide, I'm not too narrow. So from here, we are coming forward, hinging like we're deadlifting, so we can have our weight here if we need to. And then we're gonna sit down and we're gonna open up those knees. So it should be nice and easy to get into this position, right? And then we squat right up out of it, and then we'll drop that down. So we're gonna do that for our 45 seconds on the timer, and then we're gonna go to another position on the mat, and we'll do fire hydrants from there, and we'll repeat a few rounds. So we're gonna go ahead and start that. So 45 seconds is on the clock for the Kang Squat. In 2, 1, and go. So we've got our timer to go here. So a little bit wider than normal. We hinge forward, shoot those hips back, and then we're sinking down into that squat position, and we can drive up from there. And we're gonna keep repeating that. So we hinge forward, stretching everything we've mobilized, really sinking into those hips from here. So we should have a nice deep squat to work from with all that hip mobility, and then we drive up. So we're gonna continue doing that. Hopefully you guys are finding that nice deep squat and noticing where it's tight. If you can't, repeating some of these exercises we did for those nice hips to open up there towards the end. Finishing up, we got one more all the way through. We sit and drive up. Nicely done. Okay, we're gonna repeat that a few times. We're gonna go straight down onto our mat for now, into tall plank. And from there, we're gonna do a nice series of things here. So we're basically putting a minute on the clock for each one here. We're giving ourselves a little transition time, but we're adding a minute here. So from here, we're walking our way through the first circuit this time, and then so from here we're in our tall plank. We're gonna step as far as we can forward, and then I want you to twist. And then we're gonna do that on each side. So we step and twist, and then from here, we're gonna do just a slow eccentric push up all the way to the ground, and then I want you to release your hands and come back to the mat. And then we're gonna come back to tall plank, on the mat or the floor, wherever you are. So kind of a long process there. We gotta step and twist on each side and then lower into that hand release push up. And we got about a minute to work through a few of those. So let's go ahead and take it away. 2, 1, and go. Clock is ticking. So we're in here, we step as far as we can go. We twist up with that hand and switch. And then we go into that push up all the way down nice and slow. Chest touches the ground. Lift those hands up. And then reset everything. So we're going to get through 1 or 2 more cycles. Now that we know what we're doing, we can speed it up a little bit, right? Working on our chest and shoulders in this tough, tall plank position there. Lift those hands up and reset. We got time for 2 more cycles. And lift those hands. We're finishing our last one here. So we got to step and twist, step and twist, and then we're going to do 1 more. Lower yourself nice and slow all the way down, and lift those hands up. Good. We're going to bring our mat back, and we're going to do from here 30 seconds on each leg of our classic fire hydrant lift straight out to the side, and then our last exercise. So 1 minute starts right now. We're driving that leg out to the side, finishing up, strengthening and opening those hips we've been working on for the last little bit here. We got about a little over 10 seconds before we switch. Three, last one there. So we're going to go ahead and switch. So now we're going other leg here, opposite leg, straight out to the side. For our final 20 seconds here. Just a few more reps. Last one. Nicely done. All right, we're going to go through 1 more round of those 3 minutes there, and then we'll be all set today. So 1 more set on the Kang Squat, 1 more set of the lunge and twist up, and 1 more on our hydrants. So feel free to take a 3rd or even a 4th round if you want to after this. We did most of our mobilization already. We just wanted to get a little bit of exercise going just for the last few minutes of class here. Just working on some basic full body strength. So feel free to repeat those extra laps towards the end there. We're gonna run through 1 more minute of each. So 3 minutes left to work. Grab your weight. We're going back to those Kang squats for that wide, deep squat that we're trying to achieve. We got our weight with us to help. So grab a quick drink. We're putting our last minute on for 3 rounds, 1 minute on each, and we're gonna finish up strong. So let's go ahead and take it away. We got 1 minute left on the Kang squats. Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and start the clock in 2, 1, and go. So from here we've got that wide base, right? We're hinging forward, and then we're sinking into that squat and driving up out of it, and then return to that spot to start it up. So we're gonna go for our full minute or so right here. Hinged forward, curling up into that squat and driving up out of it. Hopefully we're really achieving that deep squat now. If we're not quite there yet, we're working through just another round or so of these Kang squats and the tall plank steps, so that hopefully we're feeling like we're getting a little bit deeper every time, and we can go back and repeat some of those. Let's get 1 more nice and slow here before we transition. Go back and repeat some of those hip exercises to really finish opening up our hips and groin. Good, squeeze of the glutes, last one. All right, one more minute. Down here on the bottom, so we've got our tall plank, step, twist, and our hand release push-up, all one big combo. We'll get through probably 3 again, right? So we know what we're doing. Let's take it right away for our last set of hydrants. So we're in our tall plank in 2, 1, and go. We're doing our best here to step and twist on each side. Core is very active this whole process, and then our eccentric push-up into that hand release and reset. We've got our twist on each side. Nice slow lower. Release those hands and reset. Let's keep it moving. We'll get through 2 more full cycles. Core is tight. We're moving efficiently. Lower your chest. Touch the ground. Release your hands. One more time through. Let's go. Finishing strong. Last one, and we release those hands. Awesome job. Finishing up, right back onto our mat one more time. 30 seconds of hydrants on each leg. In 2, 1, and go. Finishing up here, 30 seconds. Working on finally finishing up, opening those hips. A little bit of glutes, a little bit of core, and our chest is finally starting to get fatigued from holding us up, right? In all these positions. 10 seconds left before we switch legs. 3, 2, go ahead and get ready to switch. That was your last one on that leg. Final 30 seconds. Open up the knee. Get that knee way up there as best you can. Final 10 seconds. Don't quit. Last few reps in here. We just started working hard, right? You got enough to finish out. 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop there today. We got through just a couple quick rounds of our strengthening towards the end of that there. So if you feel like you want a little bit more strength work after that mobility, go ahead and run through another lap or 2 of those final exercises we finished there at the end. But other than that, I hope you guys feel immobile. I know I'm feeling nice and loose. Got a great stretch, a great block of mobility in there today. So as always, guys, drop me a comment, leave me a like or a reply down below. Let me know what you loved about class. Some new move that you learned or somewhere you're really tight that you want to keep working through, so we can guide you guys better for these mobility classes. Other than that, hopefully we'll see you back in the fitness center soon. Until then, we'll see you right here, same time, same place for our virtual classes. I hope you guys got a great workout today. This was Mobility and More. I'm Scott at Aspiria Fitness Center with Corporate Fitness Works. We will see you next time.